Welcome to the Twyla Zone podcast, a space where we explore the depths of empowerment, resilience, and transformation. I'm your host, Twyla Garrett, and I'm thrilled to embark on this journey with you. So whether you're seeking inspiration, guidance, or simply a moment of reflection, welcome to the Twyla Zone podcast, where empowerment meets transformation, and every story has the potential to ignite change. Let's embark on this journey together. Are you ready? Let's dive in.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Twyla Zone podcast. I am so excited today. I have one of my dear friends, colleague, mentor. She's on the line, and you guys are gonna really freak out when you hear about this, because my sister is gonna talk about how you retire and roam. Retire and roam. And the reason I say that is she is the inspiration of inspiration. She lives abroad, has lived abroad for over 5-6 years. She's going to tell her story, but I want her to kind of dispel kind of some of the myths. We're going to learn about how they say we don't get out, we don't travel. Why don't we? What are we afraid of? Wait till you hear her story, and you're going to be quite excited. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce herself. Her name is Eve Clark. Eve, please tell the audience about you today.
Hi, everybody. My name is Eve Clark, as Twyla so graciously stated. I am retired. As she also stated, I sort of live abroad. Now, my husband likes to say, we just live on Earth. When people ask us, we live on Earth. And really, that's the truth, because we are not tied to any one location, but we have lived in several countries for extended periods of time. And the last couple of years, we've just bopped around the world, 2 months in this country, 2 months in that country. I am fully retired. I previously owned a small construction company. I worked on several projects with Twyla. But the beauty of what I do is now anything that I decide to take on, I could do it from anywhere in the world. And I'm retired. I roam all over the world, but I still dabble a little bit.
She dabbles. She dabbles.
I dabble into things that bring me joy, and I don't do any work that doesn't bring me joy or that brings any amount of stress to my life.
Well, that is the best way to put it. But here's the thing, Eve. So I couldn't wait to have this, because I know you and I are going to be traveling abroad very soon. You're about to leave, right? You're about to go start your journey again. You have been homebound for about 14, 15 months, maybe more.
Yes, Chicago.
Yep. So now you're getting packed up. So let me ask one question. I know when I packed to go overseas, I got maybe like 4 or 5 bags. What do you have when you pack to go away for almost a year?
The whole strategy. So it's not just what's in my bag, it's what I'm taking. It's kind of what I'm not taking, right? Which is any type of bad health, because it's a whole thing to see all of my doctors before I leave. I'm not just retired and I don't just roam around the world. I also have numerous chronic illnesses. So we make sure my husband, he's a 2-time cancer survivor. So we make sure we get all of our checks done with our doctors before we take off. It's a matter of, oh my goodness, what climate are we going to? My next trip, I'll be gone for possibly around 8-9 months, but it'll be several climates. So I have what we like to call our travel wardrobe, which is our staple clothes, khaki pants, a set of jeans, some black pants, white pants, dresses, dressed up and down with kimonos. I managed to stay in a neutral color palette and pop in some accents of color. That's how we make it work. But also, I always have friends that visit me all around the world, right?
Exactly.
That's when somebody might bring me something that I left in the States. They'll bring me some more medicine. Like this time, we're going to see the fair in London in October. We're going to need some cold clothes. So I'm going to pack a whole suitcase, leave it here in Dallas with my son. And when he comes to the game, he's going to bring me my cold clothes. I can wear them and send them right back with him, so I don't have to carry it with me.
Oh, that's a great strategy. That's a great, you already started and planned it ahead. So you know he's coming to the game. He's going to bring your luggage. probably take some of this summer stuff back with you, right?
And I will see like my nieces along the way. So I can send things back to America and they can either leave them here with my son or with my brother in Chicago. So I still have time to get rid of some stuff or lighten my load along the way. Like when I'm in France for the Olympics, a girlfriend of mine will be coming from Dallas and my niece that lives in DC. So I can, again, for July and August, stuff back to my son through them. So I do a lot of that, particularly with my medicine that I need. Medicine comes here to my son. He will meet, he lives 10 minutes from DFW airport. So he has no problems meeting somebody right outside the airport and handing my medicine, and they'll bring it to me wherever I happen.
Well, then, let's talk about how you even thought about this journey. I knew Eve. Actually, Eve is the one who got me into construction. We both finished a graduate program at Tuck, and it was great. And we met each other there. And Eve was doing some phenomenal things. I mean, the Cowboy Stadium, she did a project there. I mean, she's done some phenomenal projects. When did you know you were going to retire? How did you know? And then how did you know you were going to be going out of the country?
So it was twofold. I became ill dealing with a construction contract, and it made me sick for a month. I needed 6 weeks of full-time rehab, and I knew right then that I wouldn't be able to live out my construction career in the way that I thought I would be. So I looked at what my money situation was going to be like, and I repositioned myself to, instead of having to be on site doing multiple projects, I repositioned myself to doing more project management work, where it was no longer they needed my full company, they just needed me, right?
Okay.
I went through that process, right? And after that, some friends of mine, I had said that I was going to retire to Costa Rica. I had picked that place. I had been there. I had looked into how favorable the economy was there to retirees on a limited income. And I knew that that was my place. But during this time that I had a 6-year plan to get to that stage, I had some friends that did a remote work year where they spent 3 months in 4 different countries. And I said, oh, well, when I finish working, I can go to Thailand and I can start there. And then I could use that as a base to bop around for a while. And I did that. I ended up going to Thailand. I lived there for almost a year until COVID came. And we had went to Bali, and then we got basically stuck in Bali, and I lived there for a year and a half.
Well, there's nothing wrong with being stuck in Bali, girl. Listen.
No, why am I working a project?
Thailand is my spot. I love it. I love Thailand, and I think more people are persuasion who are afraid to cross that ocean and to go that far is really missing out on the opportunity and beauty that's unknown. You definitely got to make it.
Your dollar goes farther there. You can live a luxurious lifestyle on a small amount of money. Same thing in Indonesia. And I actually, in both of those places, worked on a project. We were working the Grapevine
Hotel. Sure did. She worked with me on a project actually out of, and we accommodated the time frames and everything. Tell them, Eve, about how much your rent was for your beautiful home that you rented.
We had a home in Thailand that was in a gated community with 3 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, fully furnished for $450 a month.
How many?
Well, $450 a month.
Right.
And then my lady was $15 a week. And we have fruit trees in our yard, mango trees, guava, lemons.
Gorgeous place. Gorgeous place. When she sent me back the text, it was like, Twyla, this is my new home. I was like, what? So Eve, let's talk about location. What do you do? Just spin the map and just hit a dot? I mean, tell me what do you have a goal to hit 50, 90 countries? What is your goal?
So it became different. Like, I picked Costa Rica in the beginning because it was the number 2 place in the world to get treatment for multiple sclerosis. And it was also close enough to the U.S. that I could dip back in. So that's why I first picked Costa Rica. But when we went to Thailand, I knew a limited amount of people that already lived there. And I felt that, I could do this. And I did. And had no problems. I was hospitalized there. Great hospital care. I was in the hospital for a week, and I think my bill was $1,200 all in, including follow-up.
Wow.
So in Bali, right, we went there because it was close to Thailand. That month ended up being a year and a half, right? And then when we left from there, when we traveled, it was based on we wanted to either run into a certain event that we were going to spend 2 months in Egypt or 2 months in Marrakesh, or it was just some architectural world wonder that I wanted to see. And so that what dictates my travel. This year, my travel is centered around sporting events. Wimbledon, the basketball finals in Rwanda, Wimbledon in London, Formula One in Singapore. The Bears are playing in London, so I'll go and see them. And then like in 2025, I know I'm going to go to the World's Fair. That's in Osaka. So I will plan things around going to an event.
Oh, wow. So we haven't seen him, but I know he's over there, your husband, right?
Yeah.
Melvin is a road dog from Cleveland like me. So I love Melvin. And like you said, Melvin too has gone through some health challenges.
Yeah.
How has it been, or did you have to convince Melvin that you wanted to leave Texas and fly around the world and globe as a permanent resident or a flexible resident?
No. First of all, Melvin Clark is my ride or die. Anybody ever met my husband?
He is.
Knows that we are definitely soulmates.
You are.
You know what? One of the funny things, Twyla, when we first met, I think we had been dating for maybe a month or two. And I used to do facilities work for some major retailers or a major logistics company. And I took him with me in the middle of a hurricane
to
go down to Alabama to look at some work that I had to do on some military bases. And when I tell you, we knew during that trip, we were down for whatever. So he is that guy from whether I'm in a ball gown or blue jeans on a construction site or not, he is down for whatever at any given time, anywhere around the world. And I'm telling you, we call it worldwide shenanigans because that's usually.
No, what's your handle on Instagrams? And all? You have a beautiful handle, and I love it because I want them to follow you because your journey is real. And I love how when you go, you document every bit, but it's a nuance to your documentation. Tell them.
Yeah, so my handle on Instagram is Disabled Diva Travel.
I love it.
I like to tell people that no matter what your ability is or your level of disability, you can still travel. One, it's affordable. And two, whether you're in a wheelchair, a manual chair, crutches, a walker, there are ways for you to travel. Things are accessible. And I like to show them that when I'm going around the world.
I love that. Yeah, no, I love it because let me tell you, even I've been in some compromising positions overseas, especially in a safari
in Rwanda.
Oh my God, Lord Jesus! I mean, it was probably one of the most comical adventures that we ever had. From having to call an ambassador to get us out to, it's been amazing. The journey is crazy.
Tell him to call Rwanda.
Right. Somebody calling the Sun in Dallas to say, please call Rwanda to figure out how we get unstuck in a safari that is actually now closed with us in it and animals roaming. It's been amazing. But one of the things I want to talk to you about too is affordability, right? People think traveling in those countries, in the places you've been, are unaffordable and unobtainable. Talk to me about, is that true? And if it's not, then how do you make it work?
I make it work on a very limited budget, and I have what I think is a fantabulous time. And a little research goes a long way. You can get an Airbnb someplace for $500 a month for an apartment, right? You can get lodging for $30 a day at a Holiday Inn or a Marriott in another country, right? And so there's ways with a little research to make it work. And the internet, Google is out there for you. My most expensive part of travel is actually the plane tickets. And I route myself in one place. And then the next tickets are $200, $100 from Thailand.
They're hubs.
right?
Yeah, because you're now that hubs that you can
Right.
hop. You can hop.
You just jump over, or like from Singapore to Malaysia, $25 for the
That's
flight.
right.
So while I'm in Asia, I managed to visit all of those places. Same thing. When I get to Rwanda, I can hop over to Tanzania, or you can hop over to Uganda because you're right there. And it's affordable. And there are long-term homes and apartments that you can stay in that are fully furnished and ready for you. And it can be as extravagant as you want, or it can be middle of the road. I mean, there are all different types of options out there. I remember one time Melvin and I had a friend, and he was older than Melvin. He was in his 70s, and he said he liked to stay at hostels. It wasn't because he didn't have money to stay in hotels. He said because it incorporated him into that city with younger people that kept him involved in going places and doing things.
Very good point. My friend is a hostel lover. I mean, he goes everywhere. He stays in hostels, and I think it brings that energy, right? Because you see the nomadic kids just one place, and they get that energy, and I love that. 70-year-old next to him, I bet you he stays young all the time.
Yeah, it really kept him young, and then there's different levels of hostels, right? You can get a private in-suite bathroom, but you just have a community kitchen downstairs, and that's where you meet with people. And lots of hostels have tours, a way to introduce you to the city. And guess what? If you are a single traveler, sometimes it can be part of the safest thing for you to stay in that manner.
Well, you and I mean, prior to you getting married, I know we both were travelers, right?
Yeah.
We traveled a lot of the country by ourselves as single women. Talk a little bit about those times when you traveled as a single woman. What was some of the best advice you could give women that travel now? You travel now, you see so many people. What would you give them as advice if you were a single traveler?
Let's see. My best part of advice for a single female traveler would be, one, don't get on social media posting where you're at in live time.
Go on now. Make
sure you're already gone from there. Never say the name of your hotel. And whenever you're out eating alone, you're waiting for a friend, or I'm meeting my friends are coming, or my husband is in the restroom, or always don't be afraid to make friends with the front desk, right? You got to have trust in somebody. And also, don't be afraid to give your location and your phone to somebody back in America. Share your location. For my husband and I, we were together, but we also always did what we like to call a proof of life photo every day, showing everybody, hey, we're good, we're out here.
Where you're at.
Yeah. So stick to that plan. Even when I lived in Bali, we stayed at a resort for $250 a month. And that resort, they hadn't seen me. We had a schedule that me and Melvin kind of stuck to. But by the third day, they hadn't seen us. She called me. I don't see you. Your curtain not open. Where are you? I was in the hospital. And she was like, tell us. We're coming to get you right now. I'm like, no, I'm on my way back. It's okay. But we had been there, only 5 people in that resort for a year. So we had a program, and if they didn't see us, they were inquiring as to our well-being. So as a single woman, do the same thing. Make sure you make friends with somebody where your accommodations are. Make sure you don't walk around with your phone out all the time looking for directions. Be cognizant of where you're at, and never take out large amounts of money. And in truth, don't wear flashy jewelry. Don't make yourself look like a target.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I take my rings off. I normally leave those in the States. I leave most of my stuff in the States when I travel. You want to be able to make sure you can blend.
Yeah.
Tell me about languages. How many different languages do you speak?
I speak about 3 different languages, but I understand a few more than that, because I also can understand Bahasa, which is Indonesian language, and a lot of Thai. But here's the thing. I speak French and Spanish, right? Being in the construction field, one, I'm also in Texas. You're going to learn some Spanish.
That's right. That's right.
The languages that I took in high school was French. And French and Spanish are built on Latin, which is called one of the Romantic languages. And so once you understand one of them, you can sort of understand, like Italian, French, Spanish, they're all kind of based on the same thing. So that helps you out. In all the other countries I'm in, I learn always how to say hello, good morning, thank you, how much is this, and chicken. I like chicken, so chicken in a bunch of different
Chicken in a bunch of different languages, right?
and no spicy. I usually learn when I get to a new country, how do you say no spicy?
No caliente.
Yeah, no. Tapadas, that's how you say it in Bahasa.
Tapadas.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I've learned that if you greet them in their language and say thank you in their language, they will most definitely answer you back in English if they can speak it. And if they can't, guess what? Google Translate is your friend, right? And we've learned that, and we usually learn the numbers. What the reason why you learn the numbers is you don't want to be in a restaurant or somewhere picking up food. They're calling your number and you just standing there.
Right.
And so somebody tapped us on the shoulder once when we first got to Thailand, and they're like, "It's you." They're calling your number. I was like, "Oh, that's me." Okay. So I learned numbers, at least through 10, in the place you're gonna be for a while.
And so do you plan that now? I know you're going, well, we know you speak French. So are the areas you're going to now, is any of them complicated that's going to require you to learn another language?
No, because I can say some Arabic because that's what they speak in Egypt.
Okay.
I can say enough to get by.
How did you learn that?
I go in there a lot, different Arabic countries. So you talk to your tour guides and you learn how to say no or thank you or how much is that. You can learn those phrases and they're eager to teach you.
Mhm. I think it's a real good mutual respect when you come into another country and you try, right?
Yeah.
You might not get it right. They might laugh at you because I've been some places and I've tried to greet them in Mandarin and they looked at me like, girl, please. But they love the fact that I try.
The French, people say the French are rude. It's not that they're rude. They want you to at least greet them in their language. If you can't even say bonjour and they think that Americans come in so
Arrogant.
arrogant,
Mhm.
and throwing our language on them when we are in their country.
I
So
agree.
if you make an effort, they will make an effort. And in truth, if you're anywhere in a tourist area, 9 times out of 10, they can speak English anyway. America is the only country that really does not start their young off in more than one language.
Correct. Right. Because when I was in Hong Kong, everybody was like, how did you go to Hong Kong? How did you make it? I'm like, they speak English rather than we speak English. And they're like, what? That's like all of their signs are in English. I'm like, man, everything is almost in English. I mean, it's dual because they want to know our language in order to do business with us. Even in Macau, which I thought was phenomenal and fascinating, it was the same thing. Everything that they did, it was easy. But I also took the time to figure out how I can greet them in Mandarin and how I could say certain. So that is key. So what do you think is, with all the turmoil and things that's happening in the world today, how is that affecting your decision in traveling and where you go?
Well, let me tell you something. In my travels, what I have learned is in your home country, they show you what they want you to know. When you get to the other countries, you will oftentimes see, for as much as America talks about other countries limiting their news, America is limiting in the news that you get about things that happen in other parts of the world. Like, for example, right now, we hearing about what's going on in Gaza 24/7. But what you aren't hearing about is what's going on in Sudan, which is very similar, but we're not hearing about it. Also, it's not as bad when they're telling you stay away from Mexico, stay away from Jamaica. It's no different than the crime that's being committed in Chicago, LA, or New York, right? So parts of Mexico, like Merida, which will be my next hometown, it's one of the safest places to be in the world, right? But it gets a bad rap because it's inside of what? Mexico. So you have to be open to listening to other ways to get your news, right? Don't go right into the middle of the Congo, of course, but there are places that it's not as bad as they make it out to be. And if you sign up for like the STEP program with the government here, they will give you notices and really tell you more information about what might be going on in a certain particular country. But I will tell you, Twyla, I have been safer in most of the countries that I had traveled to than I was in America.
I felt the same when I was I've been to China and I've done some of the most unique things overseas. And I actually felt quite safe. It was weird. I went to Cuba and, for all those years, they told us how backwards Cuba was and they don't have technology. They don't have this. They don't have that. When I packed for as if I was going to somewhat of a third world. Girl, I got off that plane. They start unpacking my bags and I'm looking around. I'm like, okay, well, don't look too bad. And then we got into the little truck and they started moving and we pulled up to a 5-star hotel. Mm-hmm. Like, they got a 5-star hotel in Cuba. So, several. And here comes the servers and drinks and champagne. And then at dinner, there was these lobster fests. And I'm like, whoa. Okay, I didn't think y'all had internet. All the things that you hear, how oppressed the people are. They don't want a word. They're keeping them down. I think a lot of times, like you said, our media spins the side that they want us to see. And for those who have not gotten out of this country, shame on you. And I say that because truly we can never, you don't want to judge anyway, but you really can't judge if you haven't been anywhere other than your backyard. When I go home, there's people in my neighborhood that have never left the streets where I grew up. Mm-hmm. And so when I go home, I do see a different perspective. I either can see growth or stagnant, or just the fact that we haven't moved at all the needle in progression. But when I go to other countries, you see there are a lot of the things they tell you about the fear. Now, keep in mind, you can be caught into craziness, but if you plan not to put yourself in a lot of craziness, right, you won't be in craziness, right? People, when I go to spring break, I don't go there to turn up. When I was going there, I didn't go to turn up. I went to sightsee. I went to do things that gave me some cultural edification so I could know, okay, well, I want to come back here, or no, I don't want to come back here. But I definitely know the media plays a huge part, huge part. What do you do? I know I signed up. I'm sure you do. You said the STEP program. Tell them a little bit about what that is, because I think a lot of people don't realize, even if you go now to the DR or London, you need to register yourself through the program that you're traveling. They know you got your passports, but you really do want to understand. They want the country or the State Department to understand where you're going and why you're there, who you're going to be around if needed. So tell me a little bit about how you register to let people know where you're at.
Yeah, you go right online to stp.gov, or it's part of the government's, the U.S. government's travel line. And what you do in there when you register, it lets the State Department know their American citizen is in Bali right now, or in Indonesia, or like when COVID happened, I had registered through STEP, and they told me, they're finna go on lockdown. We are sending a plane. And as the days went on, they was like, no, for real, this the last plane. If you don't get on this,
you ain't coming home.
You on your own, right? We're not sending out any other people. Or if there's an earthquake, right, they know to look for you. Or they can say, oh, they're sending you an alert to where you can get to safety at. Or they'll send you an alert, hey, there's a raid going on, or there's a military coup in this area, don't go there. Or you need to get to the embassy to try to get back. So one, that lets them know that their American citizen is over there if they need to get you out of there. And it's also how they alert you as a traveler that something is happening in that particular country.
Have you been in a situation? Yeah, it's free. I use it all the time. Have you been in a situation that was a little hairy or dangerous other than our Rwandan safari?
No, I have been very blessed that being out of the country during times of COVID, and even after that, I still traveled around some. That was a little hairy. During that time when travel did open back up, the rules were ever changing. And so you needed the STEP program along with the embassy for that country that you were going to learn what was the protocol to enter that country. And even if you were just going through a country to get to another one, you had to adhere to that country's protocol. So that has generally been the only time I've been so blessed not to be in any adverse weather-related issues in the war or any military coups. Now, I will say I was very close to the situation in Sudan when I was in Egypt. I was in a part of southern Egypt called Aswan, and we were about an hour, hour and a half from the border of Sudan. And we had many people that were seeking refuge in Egypt from Sudan. And I got to hear firsthand from them how they left their country with bullets flying over their head to get to safety and to get on a bus to get there, and how once they arrived in Egypt, their Sudanese money was no good. And the embassies had to come and sign them into the hotel, the resort I was staying at.
Wow.
And so that would have been maybe the closest that I've been. And when, we were stuck in the middle of the jungle in Rwanda, when the hyenas
Girl.
said, hey.
I tell the story and people don't believe me. I said, no, you need to ask Eve. I'm not making this up. They're like, we are not making this up. Even the floorboard of the Range Rover was missing.
You can see the ground.
You can see the ground. It was like the Flintstones. Like, we ready to paddle it, and we already 2 hours away from home. So, yeah, that was...
Back, he couldn't go faster than 30 miles an hour on the way back. And what got me and the whole thing, Twyla, once it finally got started, not so much as when y'all literally got out the car and pushed. But
in the mud. Don't forget the mud. I mean, oh my God.
The second time he got the truck running, and we were like, we got to get up out of here. The hyenas have said that the people had left. They watched
you see the herds all migrating over. I'm like, what the hell?
What got me was when he stopped to see that white rhino and that leopard. We were like, man, if you don't get us up another animal.
I didn't want to see no more damn animals. I'm an animal lover, but I was so done. And in my mind, I'm like, this is not how I'm supposed to die. I just know.
And nobody believes this story. And my son, and let him tell it. He was like, Mama, you was just on safari last week. What do you mean you were on safari? I said, sir, if you do not get on this phone and call Miss Leonia in Rwanda and tell somebody to get... Yes.
We need help. And then we get to the line and they try to extort us for some money. They're like, okay, y'all need to pay to get out. What do you mean pay to get out? We tried to... Unreal.
When I finally did reach them and the park rangers, and he says, well, we'll come get you, but it's going to cost you $60.
That's a lot of money.
We're like, man, he said, we'll come get you from the path of danger. So we're in danger. And you want to charge us $60? Well, you just get here. We got the money. Just come get it.
Yeah.
Like, see what I can round up. I was like, oh my God.
I think this trip was supposed to be an 8-hour safari. We left around 8 in the morning and got home at 11 at night.
Yeah.
Girl.
His island on the 3-hour tour turned into a whole day.
And poor Melvin. See, Melvin is my dog because he don't say much. Melvin don't get riled. He don't get excited. I mean, I'm like, I know.
Taking pictures of the zebra.
Exactly.
And I was like, man, that was hilarious. But hey, it's just another worldwide shenanigans, right? It was fun. It's something to give us laughter. Would I go back? Probably. I'm not getting out the car again, but I would.
No, I bet you we inspect that vehicle before we go. We better make sure that the thing is at least a 2015.
Yeah, let me see your maintenance records.
Let me see the maintenance records. Oh, it was just amazing. So do you drive when you go overseas?
No, never. First of all, I rarely even drive in America anymore. But two, we've driven one time in Indonesia. We were on an island called Lembangan. And Melvin drove a golf cart around to the other side. That was it. We don't drive. We always hire a driver. It's cheaper. And, they know where they're going anyway. So, yeah, we usually just hire a driver.
So what would be your next adventure other than this? I know you're planning, you said in 2025, you're going to be heading over to the World Fair, right?
Yeah, in Japan. But by then, when I come back at the end of this year, I will probably go look for a regular house in Mexico. I would like to be reunited with all of my belongings at one time. You know,
Oh, you're going to bring them in.
yeah. Oh, yeah. I would get a house there. I have things here at my son's in Dallas. My goddaughter lives here too. She has a home. So I have like 6 totes at her house, and I have my winter wardrobe at my brother's. So in Chicago. So I would like to be reunited with all of my belongings because I basically live out of a suitcase. And when I told you I had what 5 pair of shoes total, that's it. That's
Yeah,
what
you told me that. I was like, what? She
that's
was like,
not what it used to be. But I make those decisions based on what do I want in my suitcase. I need a pair of flip flops, a pair of waterproof water shoes. I need 1 pair of gym shoes and a pair of sandals. That's what I carry in all neutral colors, and that's what you're gonna see me in. I might have 1 or 2 purses. I got a tote bag, a crossbody, and a wristlet, and that's what I'm gonna be in. Like all my expensive purses, they stay in storage, and I just have to live with this. What it's gonna be, right? Everybody knows when I want to be a diva, I can be, but if I
beyond the diva,
right, if I got to travel around the world, well, I need to wear what fits in this 1 suitcase or these 2 suitcases, and I am okay with that. I will show you these same red pants in 8 different countries, right? I don't care. And that's how it's going to be, and I'm okay with that.
In the Twyla Zone, we dive into the multifaceted layers of life, business, and beyond through candid conversations, thought-provoking interviews, and personal reflections. We uncover the stories of empowerment, triumph, and growth that shape our world. So whether you're seeking inspiration, guidance, or simply a moment of reflection, welcome to the Twyla Zone podcast, where empowerment meets transformation, and every story has the potential to ignite change. Let's embark on this journey together. Are you ready? Let's dive in.
So if you had to pick one excursion that you've done or one place you've lived that you would just love to live again, what would that be?
It would be Thailand. If I didn't have grandchildren, I would live in Thailand full time. However, I know that 1, it's too expensive to come home in an emergency, and it takes too long. That's 24 hours and $2,000 if you have to come home in emergency. But I love it there. I love the people. I love the food. I love the economy.
Yeah.
Wallet. I love it there. The second place would be, number 2 would be Rwanda. And the reason I picked Rwanda is because all the people there are brown, like me. In Thailand, no matter how long I live there and no matter how welcoming they are, I will always be picked out the crowd as an outsider.
Yeah.
Or I open my mouth. In Rwanda, I got to literally open my mouth and talk before they know I'm not.
Well, not even that. In Rwanda, they speak French. And so you can get away with actually blending completely in Rwanda.
It's a different feeling to know that you're outside of the U.S., but you will be accepted. And it's so welcoming. That'd be the difference there. But in totality, because it still takes 24 hours to get there, for me, it would be Mexico will be my place where I will
medium
residency and live. Because I could just pop back over to the U.S. when I got to go to the doctor. I can go. I mean, when I have to have extensive workup stuff.
What's the major city near Mexico you want to go? Where's the major?
Merida is right outside of Progreso, and that's where I'll be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it'll be a while. Here's what happens, right? Every time we go somewhere, oh, well, let me stay here for 2 months. Let me stay here for 3 months. Or like I have the ability with the way my lifestyle is that I can change my mind whenever I feel like it, right?
Well, you're trying to change your mind working on a couple projects. We're trying to keep her in Rwanda and Ghana and over in Kosovo and Cote d'Ivoire. And so we got so many different projects that we're looking at now that, we've been like, hey, Eve, you might have to come out of retirement for a minute. So that would be an amazing thing to do. So tell me again about how you've been able to bring your family into these journeys, right? Because I know I've seen some pictures where all of you guys were in Egypt, right? You brought your whole family to Egypt.
Look, my grandbaby, she got her first passport when she was 3 months old. They laid her on the board and took her picture, and she was with me in Mexico a few months later. So all of my family, including my 92-year-old mama, has a passport. And they all came to visit me in Thailand. They came to
Wow.
my going away party was in Mexico, right? They all came to that. It was 70 of us there. And then in Thailand, it was like a revolving door. Every month somebody was at my house in Thailand. But my mom came right before COVID happened. They left on March 8th. They
Right before they locked the ground.
in fact, they were just starting. They canceled sister and my mom's flight out of Chiang Mai and rerouted them through Bangkok. My son was on the last United flight out of Bangkok. So
Wow.
that was the difference there. But hey, they were out there. My little baby had just started walking and she was out there and she will tell you right now, oh yeah, I went to Thailand with Nana. Yeah, I saw the fishes and I was there. I saw the big statue. She keeps forgetting what Buddha's name is. So she just calls
Buddha.
it big statue. But yeah, she's only 5, but she still remembers back to being there right before she turned 2. She remembers that. And then she's been on several different adventures with me, and I didn't realize till I went to pick her up at daycare that she's up there telling all your business. Oh, how it traveled. So when I went there to pick her up, they had a new teacher or the new director. And when she let me in, she says, well, I don't know you. I'm gonna have to see your ID. And I was like, okay, well, you got to wait for me to go get it out the car. Let me tie her shoes and I'll be right back. And I said, I don't really live here. She says, well, you need to come get her more often. I said, I don't live here. I'm just here for a couple of weeks. And she said,
Right.
it's you. You are her grandmother that she travels with. And she said, did you take her fishing to the beach? And I said, yeah, I did. She said, you took her camping. I said, yeah. She said, you took her to some island. I said, yeah, that was Thailand. And she said, yeah, it's you. So she had been in school.
They've been talking.
Yeah.
Oh, and see, that's a blessing. You have indoctrinated her at a very young age not to be afraid of flying, not to be afraid of being in the water, and being uncomfortable comfortably, right? Because you get uncomfortable when you go into places you don't know, but it's so warming when you can get comfortable in being uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying?
Because when she woke up, I left when she was like 6, 7 months old. I think it was. Or no, a little older, maybe 8. So what happened was when they got to Thailand, when they woke up, they put her in my lap and they went to go get the things out the car. When she woke up, she was touching my face with her finger, talking to me in the phone. And she's like, is that you,
Oh,
Nana? So yeah. But yeah, it's remarkable to share that with not just my family, but with my whole internet family on showing them that, hey, they say, oh, I can't afford it. I said, you can go to Dubai for $600.
absolutely.
And hotel. There's coupons out there. There's travel out there. So there's ways to travel to make it affordable, and it is accessible for those that are handicapped or disabled. So I like to share that. And if you got to work, I worked the whole project in Bali.
You did.
And never missed a meeting.
You didn't miss a beat. Even when I needed her to get into somebody to get this thing straight, she got into them. 9 hours difference.
Sold out. In fact, they didn't even know I was gone until my birthday. And then it was their fault because they changed the meeting time 3 times. Yeah. And the staff at the resort was throwing me a birthday party. And so I finally had to tell them people in Canada, oh, look, I'm in Bali. Well, when you're coming back, I'm not. So we're going to have this meeting later.
Exactly.
You changed it, and I'm on a 12-hour time difference.
That's true.
And then they got a whole different attitude. But that shows you the lengths that I went to make sure I got my stuff done. My client didn't need to know it. Everything was done when it needed to be done to our ability. And I changed my life to support that type of lifestyle. So it can be done, even for people who aren't retired. Depending on the type of work that you do, you can still travel around, maybe not for a year or 2 at a time like me, but you can definitely be gone for a month or 3.
Absolutely.
And
absolutely. Talk about savings. What would you recommend someone take with them as far as savings? Is it a certain amount of money, or is it now everything is plastic and you really don't travel that much with cash?
Yeah, I don't travel that much with cash. If you leave the country with more than $1,000 on you cash, I feel like I've never been anywhere where I had to have more than that except Cuba. And even in Cuba, they worked it out to where they, through PayPal, could get your money if you didn't have it on you. So that is the only place where I felt like I needed to have cash. And even then, one time, I think it was halfway through my stay in Thailand, I ran out of American cash. And so Rebecca and James were they were coming to see me. And I just had Aaron go to my bank, grab out some money, and he gave it to them and they brought it to me. So I've never had a lot of cash money on me because everywhere has an ATM.
And you get the better exchange rate on your card. So
exchange rate. If you have an account at Charles Schwab, you don't even have to pay the fees on the money that you take out from the ATM. And, that's left me in a situation where I've never been afraid because I've never had to have large amounts of cash on me, and I've been totally safe.
So next big major milestone for you is what? And where do you plan on being in that next major milestone?
Well, it's kind of twofold. Like, I am excited to hopefully see us get something off the ground in either Ivory Coast or Rwanda, and I'm going to change my life a little bit to suit that. However, I do feel like, in addition to that, I feel like COVID cheated me out my 50th birthday extravaganza.
Me too, girl. We both turned in 50. Yeah.
So I
both got screwed.
I'm going to have a blowout party probably in Tanzania for the double nickels. I feel for like the double nickels, I need to have a big, massive party for not just me, everybody who got cheated out in 2020 and 2021.
That was me. I was 21. I was screwed.
Yep. I feel like a massive party for the double nickels is coming.
And mine actually happened with the tragedy. My birthday is the anniversary of Kobe Bryant's death. So I ended up getting extremely screwed on that one. I walk out of a theater with my date and everybody's crying. And I'm like, what happened? And they're like, he was in a helicopter accident. So yeah, I'm with you. The double nickels, we got to do something. Hopefully like you said, let's do it together over in Africa and get these people to use their passport.
I feel like we need to. I feel like there would be so much happiness in the world. And you know what, Twyla? Travel brings me about immense pleasure.
Yeah.
Boy, just the joy of experiencing a new place, a new culture, the joy of seeing my friends enjoy a new place and a new culture. That makes me happy. And the way that the world, definitely things that are going on in America right now, I just feel like we could all use that amount of joy.
This is a great way to end the segment. I agree. I think traveling is one of my passions. And my dad was like, you will never let your feet just stay on the ground. I'm like, no, Dad, because that's not what we were made for. Yeah. I love seeing and exploring and opening myself up to different cultures and in taking them in and them embracing us, right? Because they want to learn. I mean, Eve, they want to learn as much as about us than we do about their culture.
They do. And, and speaking of that, that mentorship spirit that I have taken that with me into so many different countries. I have tried to leave most of those places better than I have found it. For any relationships that I have with people in those local areas or local communities, from the tour guides in Egypt, I helped him build a company, to the tour guides in Rwanda. I've sat down and talked to some of them and gave them tips on what they can do to increase their life and how they can have a bigger footprint, or how they can better service their clients.
That's right.
So it's all in embracing entrepreneurship and mentorship all around the world. And the things that I did here in America, I just take that with me.
I agree. And I think one of the things I would love to do is to host a travel mission with some ladies that can come, and ladies and guys that have never really experienced going global and being into another space. And immersion, right? And true immersion into the culture. And we've been in several different areas where we've immersed ourselves in it. And let's immerse ourselves in this, and let's come up with a travel trip or something. But the next thing I want to do is, while we're in Africa, let's do a podcast from Africa.
Okay,
Let's get some of those local women to come on with us and talk about that tourism and bringing these people over.
we can definitely do it in Rwanda with some of those ladies from the Peace Through Business programs.
Would love to.
About how they have been on the opposite end of it and what happened, how they felt when they came to America. And then we can talk about how we are when we're in their space.
That sounds good. Let's do that. Let's plan that dialogue. Well, Eve, this was a pleasure. I mean, I love you like you are my sister. So
Definitely.
I am so grateful for you being here, and I'm so grateful and praying for safe travels. I know you're getting ready to, I can't wait to see your bag. I know it's going to be one. I can't wait. But definitely safe travels. What's your next stop? It's going to be Morocco, right?
Well, Morocco's going to be my first stop. I'll be there from April 28th until around May 15th. So,
all right. So I want everybody to be praying for her as she heads to the 28th over to Morocco. Let's get her back on the line so we can see how things are going. If you can, take some pictures. We'll put them up on the website. But why? The reason we did this is because we want you to see how you can retire and you can roll.
oh, yeah.
So thank you again for being part of our guest. And please pay attention, subscribe to our podcast, and hopefully you'll see Eve back here in about 2 to 3 months from Africa. All right. Thank you so much. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Twyla Zone podcast. We hope you found inspiration, insight, and a renewed sense of empowerment. Don't forget to subscribe to the Twyla Zone on your favorite podcast platform. If you have a story to share, a topic you'd like to explore, or simply want to connect, we'd love to hear from you. Stay tuned for more empowering episodes coming your way. Until next time, embrace your journey, embrace your power, and remember, you are capable of incredible things. Take care and keep shining.